Welcome to Whisperwood Stories. Today we're going to read 3 true scary stories from r/creepyencounters. Let's begin. Our first story is from Snow White and the 7 Jays. Creepy Man in Park. This happened a couple of years ago to me and 2 other friends, 21 female. We were probably 17 at the time. It was summer, and we had plans to go to our friend's house. There is this park that is halfway from mine and hers, so my friends and I decided it could be nice to sit in this hut in the park and have a smoke on the way back to our friends. This was in the evening, so it was getting dark already, and time passed. It was dark enough for the streetlights to turn on. It's important for the story to explain a bit how the hut was situated in the park. The park was shaped like a big circle around a lake, so the hut we sat at had 2 entrances from the left and right side. These entrances then connected to the main park path. The hut is open and just has bench seats in a circle and a roof, but open air, if that makes sense. Anyways, the streetlights on the right side were not working, so it was extremely dark on that side. My friends and I are chatting away, and people are walking past like normal, nothing strange. Then this man comes from the left and is walking really slowly. Now normally, this wouldn't catch my attention, but it's the summer, remember, and he had on a long, thick trench coat with a top hat that had a feather and sunglasses. He walked super slowly into the dark and just stood there. In the dark, I could make out his silhouette just standing there. At this point, all of my friends are quiet as well, and we are feeling uneasy as we are all girls. Then the man begins to walk back towards the streetlight that has light on the left side. He stands there for a couple seconds, staring again. Then he proceeded to walk slowly down the path to the hut, still staring at us. We thought maybe he would just walk through and wanted to scare us, but no. He then sits down in front of us and begins to talk. For context, we live in Brussels, so he started speaking French and said, "What a lovely evening, ladies." We speak and understand French, but in that moment, we knew it was smarter to pretend we don't, so we just say, "Sorry, English." You can see him get agitated and mad. He starts going on this whole rant about how we should speak the language of the country. Stupid English people think they are better than everyone else. As I said, he was quite mad while saying all of this. I began saying to my friends we should probably leave now. Our friend is expecting us at her house soon. Since my other friends were so scared too, the minute I said that, they said yes, and we started to walk the path to the main park path, but they left their bags and everything. I had to call them back like, "Guys, your bags," and they came running back, and while we are quickly gathering our things, he's just staring at us. We got our things and started walking when suddenly we hear, Hey, come back here." We turn around to see him holding up the can of Coke my friend had left, and he said we should not litter, and to come back and throw it away. We began to run at this moment, and I didn't look back. The whole way to my friend's house, we were so creeped out and scared that we thought he would follow us or something, and any person who walked behind us, we panicked. What scared us the most was that he had his hands in his pocket the entire time. And then the moment he held up the Coke can, there was something else in his hand that shined with the streetlight. None of us could make it out, but we assumed with the shape of the object, the way it shined from the light. His behavior and his hand in his pocket the whole time, as well as calling for us to come back, we think he had a knife. We have never seen that man since, and all of us refuse to go around that area at night now. Really scared us. I know this story might not be as creepy of an encounter as some of the other posts on here, but this has stuck with me and my friends for a while, and he has been named Hatman. We're not sure what that man would have done if we had stayed longer or had come back to throw the Coke can out, but I'm glad we didn't find out. Be safe out there. You never know people's intentions. And if you ever read the whole thing, thank you for taking the time. Our second story is from a real page-turner. Half-naked stranger walked into my house. This isn't that wild, but things like this never happen where I live, and I appreciate it could have been a lot worse than what it actually was. My partner and I live in an old mid-terrace house. There are other terrace properties to the back of us and the sides, so we are in a square of the same properties. There is no access to our garden or the back of our house, unless you get into a neighbor's garden and jump over one of our 6-foot fences, or go through the front door. The area where we live is extremely quiet, and there are a lot of families around, so in the days when we are both in, we tend to keep the doors closed but unlocked. This happened on a weekday just after lunch. I was at my desk, which is in the living room, when something in the garden caught the corner of my eye. I looked out the window to see a half-naked man, he was wearing shorts, storming down the garden towards the back of the house. I had never seen this man before, had no idea how he had gotten into the garden and what his intentions were. My partner and I are both women. I am quite short, and at the time my partner was off work with flu and was sleeping upstairs. So I was immediately on edge seeing this man. I heard the back door being smashed open and heavy panting, so immediately went to the door of the room I was in and shut it, holding it closed. I heard him come out of the kitchen and into the hallway, where there are the stairs and the door of the room I was in. I then had a sudden realization that my partner was upstairs and was worried that he may go up there and do God knows what. I opened the door of the room I was in and shouted, mimicking the tone that my mom does when she's super angry and wants to terrify us, and shouted, "What are you doing?" The man was already opening the front door to go out when I did this, so I probably should have just waited for him to leave. He stepped back in towards me and shouted, swinging his arms around. I couldn't make out much of what he was saying in my panic, but there was a lot of swearing, and it wasn't pleasant, which led me to panicking even more. I managed to push him out of the door and quickly lock it. No idea how I managed to do this. He stood on the doorstep shouting and banging on the door afterwards, trying to get back in, and then eventually left when I was on the phone to the police. The police came to my house to take my statement. They explained that it was a man who lived around 5 minutes away from us. I'd never seen him before, who had gone on a drug-fueled rampage in the street behind ours. He had threatened people with a shovel and had slashed someone/people with a knife that they believe he had on him when he came into our house. He explained that they had reports of this man forcing his way into neighboring properties, had pushed over several people, and had punched another person when they had tried to stop him from getting in. They eventually picked him up on the other side of the town, trying to stab the doors of a block of flats in an attempt to get in. Our last story is from Anonymous. Never walk by yourself in a new town. So this happened back around 2014-2015. I was about 19 to 20 years old. I was a scrawny thing at 4'10", not much weight or muscle to myself. We had just moved to this town. My family and I checked the crime rate. It was pretty low, and so we thought it was a safe town. Boy, were we wrong. So this town was about 1,000 people or so, and we just moved here a few weeks prior. Nothing bad happened. One cold, winter day, my parents decided to let me walk to the little store in town. It was, about 3 blocks away, so like a 5-minute walk. I didn't personally own a cell phone at this time, nor did I have pants pockets on my pants. I took my parents' phone and card to get whatever we needed at the store at that time. I had the card in my hand, and it was visible. Bad mistake, looking back on it. I walked up to the store without incident. Didn't see these boys on the way up to the store. Got what I needed, and left the store pretty quickly, putting the card into the grocery bag. At this point, the sun was settling. It was dark outside, but the sun was past the buildings in town. I get between the store and an abandoned building, with a library almost at the end of the block. I see 3 young boys, probably between middle to high school age. I knew I had to go that way to go home, so I was forced to walk past these boys. At first, I didn't have a bad feeling, and they weren't saying anything to me. I honestly don't think they saw me at first. Anyways, as I get to the library, the boys pass me now. They're between the library and the store at this abandoned place. As soon as my back was to them, I got a very bad feeling. That's when I heard one of the boys say, "You! Yeah, you!" I looked back, and they were headed my way again. I just ignored them and didn't answer. I heard footsteps, but it was a distance away. Then I heard them say again, "You! Yeah, you, come here!" Again, I ignored them. This time, the footsteps got louder and faster, like they were jogging. One last time, they said to me, "Yeah, you! You, come here!" But this time, louder and a lot more aggressive. At this point, the footsteps were at a run now, and almost right behind me. I looked back and these 3 boys were almost on me, but not quite at arm's length. At this time, I got scared. I didn't have a weapon on me to defend myself. Nobody was on the road. I was all alone with these 3 boys. I didn't know what to do, so I gripped my parents' cell phone tighter, my other hand in a fist. I was ready to fight and use the phone as a weapon. As soon as these 3 boys were now within arm's length of me, an ambulance goes by. I remember looking at the guys in the ambulance. They were driving by really slow. They were looking at me, then looking at the 3 boys. I saw the passenger guy look at me and smile. Then they drove away. I looked back, and the 3 boys had left and went away from me. I don't know why I didn't yell at the ambulance people for help, maybe. Too shocked or scared. I call my family members, tell them what happened, and asked if I could get a family member to come pick me up or meet up with me and finish walking me home. I don't remember what they said, but by the time my family member got out of the house, I was already home. Thankfully, they didn't follow me home either. But I was walking as fast as I could, gripping the phone tight and constantly looking over my shoulders, thinking the whole time, let me get home safe. I'll let a family member catch up to me. Thankfully, I didn't see them again after this incident. To this day, I do also believe the ambulance men saved my life. I had a really bad feeling about these boys. I think they were going to rob me, or worse. Also, being new in town, I didn't really know my way around. I honestly kind of ignored my gut feeling, because I could have crossed over onto the other street, but I didn't. Now I've got better situational awareness, and I listen to my gut. It has never been wrong. My gut feeling has stirred me in the right direction. Thank you for listening to Whisperwood Stories. If you enjoyed, don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe down below. Do you have a story that you'd like me to read here? Consider commenting or sending it to whisperwoodsubmissions@gmail.com. The stories in this video were read with the author's permissions. Thank you again for listening, and be sure to check out the original Reddit posts. Want to support me? Check the link below where you can leave a tip if you wish. And remember, don't let the shadows get too close. Good night.